Hi girls, so today we're going to look at sociology and sport. Now you studied this unit in year 10 last year, I think term 3, so hopefully it is a revision for you and you can recall some of the key concepts and definitions that I go through today. Our success criteria: you will have achieved success in this lesson if you can firstly define 3 key terms: access, equity and barriers, and start thinking about examples of barriers that might impact on access and equity to the sport of aerobics. So what is sociology and sport? And like I said, you would have covered this unit and definition last year. It's a study of the relationship between sport and society. Okay, sport and society go hand to hand. Society influences sport, and sport obviously can also influence society. It examines how culture and values influence sport, how sports influence culture and values, and the relationship between sport, importantly media, economics, so things like funding, religion, race, and the big one, gender. So some key definitions, girls, so please get these down. So society is a collection of people living in a defined geographic location and united by a political system and a shared sense of identity that distinguishes it from other people. Culture is the values that society embraces and the actions that flow from them. E.g., as a society, we value sport. We're a sporting nation, as you all know, and there are particular sports that we value over others. E.g., the state of origin, Australia, well, Queensland, New South Wales stops for the state of origin on a Wednesday night, 3 Wednesday nights a year. Okay, it's a part of our culture, our sporting culture. Sociocultural influences, you'll hear me say that word a lot, so it refers to both social and cultural factors, and I've given you some examples there. So private school versus state school funding, uniform expectations in male and female sports. The biggest one there, for an example, is beach volleyball. Males can wear a singlet and shorts, and females have very specific bikini uniform guidelines. So their bikini bottoms have to be sitting at a certain point on their hips, and their top, the logos need to be on specific sections of the top of their bikini. Stereotypes are fixed narrow views of individuals, characteristics, e.g. males are the stronger sex, females are weaker, netball is a girl's sport, therefore females need to play that, males need to play masculine type sports such as football. Hopefully you can remember this phrase from last year: sport is a microcosm of society. So sport and physical activity in Australia today reflect and reinforce the things Australians believe and value as a nation. Okay, so for example, start with this one down here. So unfortunately, a lot of violence, not only in this world, but also our country. And that's pretty much reflected in the sporting world. State of origin now, they're not allowed to fight in state of origin anymore, otherwise they get sent to the bin as soon as they throw a punch. That's 10 minutes in the bin, so you don't see that unless they're really cranky in a state of origin match anymore. But as a nation, we love that. Okay, a lot of people just watch state of origin, or used to watch it, because of the fights. Okay, they want to see Biff. Okay, so what we see out in society is also reflected in sport, and that's what we mean by sport is a microcosm of society. Okay, fighting, violence. Okay, you can see, recent events. You can see violence is very much part of our society, part of the world, and it's also involved within the sports that we play and watch. Over here on the left, got some gender differences. So society's view: you can be anything you want to be as a male when you grow up: an engineer, a firefighter, an astronaut, a pilot. Society's view of a female: you can be anything you want to be when you grow up: a blonde, a brunette. Okay, we know that's stereotypical gender assumptions in our country. Okay, we know how males are perceived. Okay, the kind of jobs that they have. There are more males that are CEOs that are in high-powered jobs than females. And on the flip side, there are a lot of females more females than males working part-time, working in admin jobs such as secretary. Okay, men have the higher-powered jobs, and this is also reflected. The stereotypical views of males and females in society is also reflected in sport. So, a perfect example here is lingerie football. Now, males, they play NFL. Okay, so their title of this football in America is called NFL, and they get to wear a helmet, pads from shoulders right down to their legs. Females, it's not even called NFL, okay? It's called the Lingerie League, okay? And you can see the attire they wear and what we stereotypically think of females playing sport, okay? Okay, I'll move myself out of the way, some key terms that you must know, and you'll hear me say these first two continuously throughout the unit. If you do health, you should know these first two and the last one for that matter. So the first one is access. So access is the opportunity to participate. Now, I always use the example of Moreton Bay College. Here at Moreton Bay College, you have ample, probably too much access to sport. Okay, why? Because probably start with Mrs. Pavish. Okay, you've got a director of sport that lives and breathes sport every single day for many years now. Okay, and if it wasn't for her, perhaps you wouldn't have, the school, Moreton Bay College, wouldn't have as many opportunities to partake in sport. Let's look at our facilities. Okay, 2 indoor halls, gymnasiums, swimming pools, beautiful grounds, weights room, access to the boys' college if we need it. Okay, for things like basketball, okay, we go up there if we don't have enough courts here. Ample access. We don't just have A teams here. Okay, netball I think filters down to C teams. Okay, a lot of schools, if they do have sport, they might only just be able to field 1 team or 2 team per age group. But here we have a lot of opportunities. So even if you're not fantastic at a sport, hopefully if there's enough numbers, there are usually more than 1 or 2 teams. Okay, so lots of access here to participate in sport. A barrier is any factor that restricts or prevents access to exercise, sport, and physical activity. Big one, we're going to think about as religion. Okay, some religions do not enable you to partake in sport on a Sunday, for example. Religions where you have to cover yourself from head to toe, that could impact on playing specific sports. Disability is another big one. Okay, disability can impact on the access you have to sport. These two here, this one here, your environmental factors. So your location. Okay, unfortunately, schools and countries around the world do not have the facilities that we have. We are very fortunate here. Okay, compare yourself to a state school. Some state schools do not even have an indoor hall. Okay, so when it rains, you're inside doing theory, or when it rains, your sport is cancelled. Okay, so we are very fortunate here in terms of access in comparison to a lot of other places. Equity versus equality. Again, if you do health, you would have seen this diagram before, and you should know these definitions. So equality, in a nutshell, means the state of being equal, so the same. Equity, in a nutshell, is fairness, okay? So giving value to and celebrating social and cultural differences of individuals and society. So again, equity means sort of taking into consideration other factors, okay? I like to use the word fairness to describe equity, and equality is equal. Okay, so diagram here really sums it up, and like I said, health girls, you've seen this before. So in the first image, it's assumed that everyone will benefit from the same support. They are being treated equally. So you've got a really short person, short as well, this one's tall, they're all on the same box. Okay, they have been treated equally. Can they all see the game? No. Okay, in this second image, individuals are given different supports to make it possible for them to have equal access to the game. They are being treated equitably. Okay, so you can see the little short person has 2 boxes, the middle person has 1 box, and this guy has no box. Okay, think of examples on the sporting field. How are people with a disability given equitable access to participation in sport? Okay, we've got things now such as the Olympics as a perfect example. Okay. Just to finish, girls, what I'd like you to start thinking about, now we'll obviously go through this in class in our first theory lesson, but I want you to start thinking about some potential barriers that impact on the participation in sport aerobics at Moreton Bay College and in society in general. Now, if I could probably think of one that I see, it's definitely body image. Okay, body image is a huge barrier to participation in aerobics. And I'm sure you can sort of see that yourself amongst your cohort when you did it last year. And that's not just how you look, but being comfortable with looking at yourself in the mirror. That's quite an awkward thing to overcome. And also, what barriers impact on the perception of sport aerobics at Moreton Bay College and in society? So perception being, what people think and say about a sport aerobics. Okay, so e.g. it's a girls' sport. All right. Make sure you get down those definitions, girls, and if you need to, read the textbook chapter, which is on your OneNote, and start thinking about those final 2 questions. Thank you.